I want to show you an example of active reading and writing. Here's a passage that if I had written down on paper, I might want to read through here, but I don't want to have to reread this whole thing next time I want to look through it and find out information. So I'm going to highlight, underline, and make notes on the margins so that I don't have to reread this later. So as I read through here, I'm going to find what's important. So I might notice that in the second paragraph, it's talking about this person's childhood. So I'm going to go down, and if I was on a piece of paper, I would write childhood, okay, because that discusses his childhood. I might even think that's important enough to highlight it. So I'm going to highlight that with my highlighter. Now, as I'm going through, I may also find that something else that's very important was that this man's father was a prosperous merchant, so I might underline that. Okay, and I might also think it's fairly important that his parents were much more interested in the two older sons and tended to ignore this author. So I'm going to highlight that. To me, a highlight is more important than an underline, and notes on the side just tell me more information. So as I go through, I also find that it's very interesting and very important that he studied at Harvard, so I'm going to highlight that, although I may need to know the years, but I don't really care that much. They may be interesting, so I'll underline those. And then I may find that he returned to Maine, and that is important or interesting, so I'm going to underline that. But he was miserable and lonely most of the time, which is very important because, again, in my context, this is an author, and I'm trying to figure out why he wrote what he wrote. So to me, that might be very important as to what he normally wrote. So as I continue on, as I look through here, I'm seeing a little bit more about this whole section. So this paragraph is a focus on his years in Maine. Okay, so if that may be all I want to talk about. That's maybe the most important point from this whole paragraph. So in your left-hand side or on the side of your text, write quick little notes that are summaries of the paragraph. Just a few words, few sentences, not even a sentence, just words. Notice that one word is childhood. This is simple for me. So if I don't care about his childhood, I need to learn more about his adulthood, then I know to skip this paragraph. But if I need to know where he grew up, I can see from my highlights that he grew up in a small town in Maine. Or if I want to know about his education and I can't remember, now he went somewhere really good, but I can't remember where, I have highlighted Harvard, and that just jumps out to me. The rest of it is not necessarily that important. If I need to know more, I can always reread it, but I have hit the most important highlights at the moment.